There are men who have spent years inside a silence they could not explain. Not the silence of peace, not the silence of rest. The silence of a man who has prayed the same prayer until the words stopped feeling like words and the answer never came. Not a no, not a wait, nothing. Most of these men eventually decided what that silence meant. They called it abandonment. They called it punishment. They called it evidence that they had been forgotten by something they once believed was watching. They were wrong about what it meant. They were not wrong that it happened. There is a specific kind of man that God goes quiet on. Not because he has left, but because the training requires it. The men he trusts with the hardest assignments are the ones he prepares in the deepest silence. This is not comfort. This is the thing no one told you about the year you almost didn't survive. He stopped telling people it would get better, not because he stopped believing it, because he realized slowly and without drama that no one around him could hold the weight of what he was carrying. Not because they didn't care, because the weight was specific, the kind that belongs to a particular man in a particular season, and passing it to someone else required them to understand something about his life that he was only beginning to understand himself. So he stopped explaining. He kept it to himself, carried it quietly, went through the motions of ordinary conversation while something heavy and unnamed sat in him that had no place in ordinary conversation. He did not know it at the time, but that was the first sign of selection. There is a pattern that appears in certain men's lives. A pattern of disproportionate difficulty that has no obvious cause and no obvious end. These men are not reckless. They are not undisciplined. They are not paying for obvious mistakes. Their lives are simply harder than the lives of people around them. Harder in ways that resist explanation. Harder in ways that other people cannot quite see, because the hardness is not always visible from the outside. These men spend years trying to understand the pattern of having made wrong turns somewhere that can no longer be identified, of being somehow misaligned with the way things are supposed to work for people like them. They spend years trying to fix what was never broken, trying to smooth out the resistance when the resistance was the curriculum, trying to make the path easier when the path was hard by design. The selection is not visible from inside it. This is the precise reason most men misread it. They are looking at their lives from within the preparation, where the only thing visible is the difficulty, the closed doors, the unanswered prayers, the gap between where they are and where the people around them appear to be. From inside the preparation, it looks like being left behind. From the other side, it looks entirely different. The men selected for the hardest assignments are not selected because they are already capable of carrying them. They are selected because God already knows what the difficulty will produce in them. The selection precedes the preparation. The hard life is not the consequence of who they are. It is the construction of who they need to become. This is the distinction most men never make, because making it requires sitting with a truth that is simultaneously more comforting and more demanding than the alternative. Because it means the difficulty was not punishment. More demanding because it means the difficulty is not over. The men with easy lives are not more favored. They are assigned to easier wars. The difficulty in a man's life is not random. It is not circumstantial. It is proportional. Proportional to what the assignment requires. Proportional to what the preparation must produce. Easy lives produce men who function well under easy conditions. They are needed. They have a place. But they cannot be sent where God's hardest soldiers are sent, because they have not been built for it. God does not select the men who are already ready. He selects the men who will be, and then makes sure of it. The making sure of it is the part that feels like suffering, the part that feels like resistance at every turn, the part that feels like watching others move through life on still water while you have been navigating open ocean since the day you opened your eyes. It was never still water. You were being prepared for. The ocean was the classroom, and the difficulty of the ocean, the specific, relentless, disproportionate difficulty that most people in your life could not fully see or hold, was not the obstacle to where you were going. It was the only road that led there. There was a year he could not explain to anyone, not because nothing happened, because everything that happened was invisible. No promotion, no breakthrough.
No visible sign that anything he was doing was producing anything at all. Just him alone, in the same room, praying the same prayers, watching the same doors stay closed. He stopped telling people about it after a while, not because he gave up, because their responses had begun to cost him something he could not afford to keep spending. They offered the usual things: encouragement, perspective, the gentle suggestion that things would turn around. He nodded. He thanked them.
He drove home alone. and sat with the silence that had become more familiar than any of their words. He did not know what was happening to him during that year. That was the point. Most men who have lived through invisible seasons eventually arrive at the same conclusion, that nothing was happening, that the year was wasted, that the silence was evidence of absence, and the absence was evidence of something worse than punishment. Indifference, the belief that God had simply moved on. He drove home alone and sat with the silence that had become more familiar than any of their words. He did not know what was happening to him during that year. That was the point. Most men who have lived through invisible seasons eventually arrive at the same conclusion, that nothing was happening, that the year was wasted, that the silence was evidence of absence, and the absence was evidence of something worse than punishment. Indifference, the belief that God had simply moved on. That the prayers had accumulated somewhere and gone unread. That the effort had been real, and the return had been nothing, and the nothing meant exactly what it appeared to mean.
This is the misreading, not because it is irrational. It is entirely rational. It follows directly from every human experience of silence, in relationships, in work, in every context where silence is a message. But the training ground operates by different rules.
And most men never learn the rules until they are already on the other side of the season. The capacity God builds during invisible seasons is not strength. Strength is the surface reading. Strength implies force, the ability to push harder, endure longer, resist more. That is not what the invisible seasons were constructing. What was being built was something more specific, the ability to move without certainty, to make decisions in the dark without the confirmation that the decisions are correct, to continue functioning under conditions that make functioning feel irrational, because nothing visible justifies the continuation. This is not strength. This is something harder than strength. Strength requires something to push against. What the invisible seasons build is the capacity to keep moving when there is nothing to push against at all. When the ground is neither solid nor unstable. When the answer is neither yes nor no. When the silence is so complete that it begins to feel like the silence is the environment, not a condition within it. The men who are built in this specific way are not stronger than other men. They are differently constructed. And what they are constructed for requires exactly this. The ability to operate in conditions where no confirmation is coming. Where no applause is available, where the work must be its own reason. The isolation was not God removing people from your life. It was God removing distractions from your assignment. The people who left during the invisible seasons, the ones whose departure felt like abandonment at the time, were not taken from you. They were incompatible with what you were becoming. Not because they were lesser, because the formation required a specific kind of solitude that their presence would have interrupted. The training ground is not cruel in its design. It is precise. Every removal was architectural. Every door that closed was closing off a direction the assignment did not require. What remained after the removing, the silence, the solitude, the absence of confirmation was not what was left over. It was what was needed. The season that felt like being emptied was the season of being filled with something that has no name in ordinary language. The men who survived it rarely know what to call what they became. They only know that they came out carrying something
they did not carry going in, and that whatever it is, it was built precisely there, in the invisible year, in the silence that felt like nothing, in the training ground God goes most quiet to maintain. He had told the story of that year many times, to friends, to family, to himself, in the quiet moments when the memory surfaced uninvited. The version he told was accurate, the facts were correct, the sequence was right, the pain was real.
But somewhere in the telling, he had arranged things, not dishonestly, not deliberately. The way a man arranges furniture in a room he has to live in, so that the sharp edges face the wall. The version he carried made the hardest part the external circumstances. The job that ended, the relationship that broke, the money that ran out, the doors that closed one after another, until closing felt like the natural state of things. He had never once considered that the hardest part was not what happened to him. It was what he had been becoming while it happened. Most men who have endured hard seasons carry a version of the story that made survival possible at the time. This is not a character flaw. It is a survival mechanism. The mind's way of making the unbearable bearable by locating the pain outside the self. The circumstances were the problem. The silence was the problem. God's absence was the problem. And so the man endured. He waited for the circumstances to change. He waited for the silence to end. He waited for the return of something he believed had left. He was waiting for the wrong thing, because the silence had not left. The silence was the thing. There is a particular misreading that most men who have survived hard seasons never correct. because correcting it requires looking at the same events from a position they were not yet standing in when the events occurred. They placed God's silence in the category of abandonment. This is understandable. Silence in human relationships usually means withdrawal. When someone you love goes quiet, it means something has changed. It means distance. It means absence. But this is the misreading. God's silence during the hardest training is not the silence of withdrawal. It is the silence of a man who has handed the controls to someone he has already decided can handle them, and stepped back. Not because he doesn't care what happens, because he already knows what will happen. And what will happen requires the man to not know that God is watching. That is the specific condition the training required, not faith in the presence of confirmation. Faith in the presence of nothing. The version of the story most men tell is protecting them from the full weight of what actually occurred, not what they lost, what they became. The survival was not the point. The man who came out on the other side was not the same man who went in, and the difference between those two men was built entirely in the silence. In the waiting, in the years that felt like nothing was happening. Something was happening. It was just happening to the inside. At some point the prayer stops being a request and becomes a conversation with someone who has already decided and is waiting for you to stop negotiating. That shift from petition to conversation with someone who has already decided and is waiting for you to stop negotiating. That shift from petition to conversation is the moment most men miss. Because it doesn't feel like an upgrade. It feels like loss. It feels like the prayer stopped working. It feels like the line went dead. The line did not go dead. The relationship changed. And relationships that change that way, where one person stops needing to explain, and the other is left to simply trust. Those are not relationships that have grown distant. Those are relationships that have grown serious. The year God went silent was not the year God was absent. It was the year God trusted him enough to stop explaining. Instructions are for beginners. The silence was a promotion. And the man who carried that year as evidence of abandonment has been grieving something that was not a loss. And everything he built in that grief, everything he survived while carrying that misreading, was built on a foundation he never fully recognized as strength. He called it endurance. God called it readiness. He did not realize the preparation was over until he was already in the middle of the assignment. There was no announcement. No moment where the silence broke and a voice confirmed that the hard years had served their purpose and the next phase was beginning. No ceremony. No transition he could point to later and say that was the day everything changed. Just a morning like other mornings. Except somewhere in the middle of it, he noticed he was carrying something he had not been able to carry before. Not comfortably, not without weight, but without collapsing. And the absence of collapse in a situation that would have collapsed the version of him that entered the silent years. That was the recognition. Quiet. Precise. Unremarkable from the outside. Everything from the inside. Most men who have been through hard preparation spend the final stages of it waiting. Waiting for the confirmation that it is over. Waiting for the assignment to arrive in a form they will recognize. An opportunity. A door opening. A sign that the difficulty has served its purpose. And the reward is incoming. They are waiting for the wrong thing. The assignment does not arrive as reward. It arrives as necessity. Not as the thing you finally get to do after everything you endured. As the thing you are suddenly in the middle of because the person who went through the preparation is now the only person available who can handle what the assignment requires. Most men miss the beginning of the assignment entirely. They are still looking for the announcement when they are already 3 weeks into the war. The preparation does not end with a ceremony, because ceremonies are for men who need to know the preparation is complete. God does not tell his hardest soldiers when training ends. He simply deploys them. And the deployment does not feel like deployment. It feels like a hard situation arriving. It feels like pressure returning. The same pressure the training was built to produce tolerance for. The man who has not understood what the silent years were for will experience this as more suffering. The man who has understood even partially will experience it differently. Not easily, not without cost, but with a quiet recognition beneath the difficulty that he has been here before. Not in this specific situation, in this specific weight, and the weight is familiar, not because it is lighter than it was, but because he is different than he was. The architecture is the same. The man standing inside it has changed. God does not send his darkest soldier to easy wars. The war assigned to you is proportional to everything he built in you during the silence. This is the thing most men who have endured the silent years never fully absorb. That the suffering was not random. It was sizing. The difficulty was not circumstantial. It was calibration. Every season that felt like too much was measuring something. The exact capacity the assignment would require. The measurement is precise. The assignment fits the preparation the way a specific tool fits a specific task. Not generally, not approximately, exactly. The year God went silent was not the year you were forgotten. It was the year you were being finalized. And the finalization is complete. Not because the difficulty is over, because you are no longer the man who needed the difficulty to be over before he could move. The assignment does not require that man. It requires the one who came out of the silence carrying something he cannot fully name, and has already begun using it without realizing. You are not waiting for the war to begin. You are already in it, and everything God built in you during the silence was built for exactly this.